Now I would like to invite the chair of the college's Board of Trustees, Jim Scordo, to the podium to introduce our keynote speaker this evening.
Our speaker this evening is Thomas H. Carman, President and Chief Executive Officer of Samaritan Medical Center, Samaritan Keep Home, and Samaritan Summit Village. Tom is involved in a variety of organizations within the healthcare arena, including founding member and charter president of the Fort Drum Regional Health Planning Organization, where he is currently serving as a chair for a second time. Central New York Regional Advisory Board for Blue Cross Blue Shield. Member and past chair of Iroquois Healthcare Association Board of Directors. Board member of the Healthcare Association of New York State and the Northern New York Healthcare Alliance. Tom Carman is a leader in the North Country, and his dedication and service to the community were recognized with the prestigious Israel Shapiro Citizenship Award in 2013. He is a member and past president of the Watertown Rotary Club, immediate past chair and current board member of the YMCA, secretary of the Fort Drum Regional Liaison Organization, and past chair of the Greater Watertown North Country Chamber of Commerce. He has chaired the North Country Heart Walk fundraising effort, as well as the United Way of Northern New York campaign. Tom holds a bachelor's degree in pharmacy from Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and a master's degree in business administration from Syracuse University. Please welcome our speaker this evening, Thomas H. Carman.
Jim, thank you very much for those kind words and that nice introduction. It's truly my privilege to be here this evening, and I can't tell you how honored I was to be asked to be your commencement speaker this year. First and foremost, though, what I'd like to do is to congratulate each of you. You should be very, very proud for the accomplishments that you have made and for the graduation this evening. So congratulations to each of you. But while it is your hard work that's being recognized this evening, I would like to have you think about some of the people that might have supported you and helped you along the way. I suspect that each of you have had someone in your life, maybe a parent, maybe a spouse, maybe a sibling, an aunt, an uncle, a friend, a mentor. And while tonight is your night, and enjoy every minute of it, when the dust settles, I'd ask you to think about who did support you, and maybe take them aside and say thank you. Because they're the ones that have allowed you to be as successful as you are and to be here this evening and to achieve this graduation. Tonight I thought I would share with you some of the lessons that I have learned along the way, and perhaps these may help you in the future. I will also share some of my background in an effort to allow you to realize that your hopes and dreams can become reality if you are committed, if you work hard, and if you stay true to your goals. As I begin, I want to share a quote with you that's been an inspiration to me. About 20 years ago, I was giving a greeting card from a very dear friend. This was given to me on the evening before I interviewed for my first role as a chief executive officer of a small community hospital. The quote is from Calvin Coolidge, and it goes like this: "Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated failures. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent." Persistence and determination. So a little bit about myself. I grew up in the state of Maine in a rural area that looks a lot like northern New York. I'm the youngest of 5 children, and at the age of 5, my parents divorced. I was raised by my mother and virtually had no contact with my father. My mother was a nurse, thus my interest in health care. We grew up with very little and struggled at times, but all 5 of us went to college and graduated. My mother is no longer alive, but I can remember every time I went home, she would ask me, "Are you taking good care of the nurses?" Something I remember every day. Let me note also that Jefferson produces some of the finest nurses that I've seen over my career. Kudos to the nursing program. I would also note that as I've advanced in my career, that question that I got asked by my mother sort of advanced a little bit, and that's a reminder to myself to make certain that we're taking care of all of the staff, not just the nurses. As I progressed, though, my first formal job was a clerk in a corner drugstore at the age of 15. And I did a lot of things before that, delivering papers and doing various odd jobs. But my first full-time job was as a clerk in a corner drugstore. And what was interesting at that point was I was witness to transformation in the healthcare system. I walked into this corner drugstore that had just recently been purchased by a young pharmacist. He bought this drugstore that had been in operation for over 100 years. He ripped out the soda fountain. He expanded the services that were provided. He created a very professional retail environment, and it was really interesting. And within months, I fell in love with that and realized that I wanted to become a pharmacist, and my goal at that point in life was to own my own store. However, at that time, as the chain stores started to take over the landscape, and I was training as a pharmacist, the role was evolving into more of a clinical role, and pharmacists were engaging as a more active member of the healthcare team. So at that point, my challenge was to combine my interest in clinical pharmacy and business and make a career of it. I've never looked back, and I have no regrets. I have been an officer in the United States Public Health Service, a staff pharmacist in a community hospital, and at a very early point in my career, I became a director of pharmacy as well. For the next decade, I balanced the role of pharmacist, working the bench, with the role as a manager, assuming progressively more responsibility over time. I'm not sure which aspect of the role I appreciated the most, but eventually I took the leap, and I moved into a purely administrative role as a vice president and began to oversee support services and building projects. At 39, I became the CEO of a smaller community hospital, and in 2004, my family and I moved to northern New York, and I became the CEO of Samaritan Medical Center. So why does this quote from Calvin Coolidge about persistence and determination mean so much? And why is it such an inspiration? Well, while I have been successful, I've had many challenges placed upon me as well. Yet I've had to overcome these through perseverance. And so I thought I'd share just 3 of them with you tonight. Quite honestly, I could go on for hours about some of the challenges. But let me share 3 with you. The first of which is I really wasn't the best student. I'm not sure my first semester at college was much different than Hollis's. As a matter of fact, when I shared my SAT scores with my 4 kids, they sort of laughed one evening. We had a little bit of fun with that. However, when I found coursework that was relevant, I excelled. And what I learned from this is to find your passion, give it your best, and to live your dream. The second challenge I encountered was very early in my career. I was laid off 2 times in the first 3 years of my career. One of those times was just 4 months before our first child was to be born. And this could have either been very, very devastating for me or very motivating. And I chose to allow this to motivate me. This is not to say I wasn't disappointed, but you choose your attitude and how to handle failure. Be determined and make the most of any situation. And always remember that you can learn more from failure than from success. Let me repeat that. Some people don't get this because they get more discouraged, but you truly can learn more from your failures than you can from success. The third challenge I will note is in mid-career. I was offered a temporary promotion as an interim chief executive officer in this community hospital. And I was told by the board that they would only consider outside candidates for the permanent position. So for a year, I gave it my best shot, and I watched a parade of outside candidates come through. My team worked really hard, and we were successful turning the organization around. I was eventually given the opportunity to interview, and I was selected for the role permanently. So initially, I could have been very discouraged and given up, figured, what the heck, they didn't want me permanently. But I didn't do that. I gave it my all, and I was rewarded. And I understood from the outset that even if I wasn't selected, I still wanted to do what was right for the organization, and I also knew that the experience would be invaluable to me as well. So always give it your best and do it for the right reason. You never know where life is going to take you. So those are just 3 of the challenges that I've faced in my life. There are certainly many, many more, and lots of little details within those that I'm not even sharing this evening. And as I've focused on some of my personal background and career, not because my education was not important, but because the lessons I have learned through the School of Hard Knocks have prepared me best for success. My education has provided me with the foundation I needed, but my personal work, life experiences, and work have given me the skills to be successful. So what have I learned that I can share with you this evening? I've got a few thoughts here that I'd like to share with you as graduates, and hopefully you can take these with you as you move forward in the next chapter of your life. First, be willing to take a risk. Be willing to try something new. Don't be afraid of failure. When asked to do something new, say yes. There's always someone around that wants to help and who wants you to be successful. Don't be afraid to ask, to try, but always remember to listen, because we never stop learning. Secondly, be optimistic. The glass is always half full. You choose your attitude like you choose the clothes you put on in the morning. Choose a good attitude and make the most of it. You have to be patient. Things may not happen as quickly as you might like. Most times it's more important to take your time, to gain consensus, than to really try to force an action. So be patient. Things may not happen as quickly as you would like. As noted in the quote from Calvin Coolidge, be persistent and determined. Never, never, never give up, no matter what the obstacles might be. And remember, you only have one chance to make a first impression. Give it your best all the time. And I share this with you because my experience lately, as I've welcomed every new employee at Samaritan Medical Center into orientation, is sometimes total shock as I watch how people come into work for their first day. You only have one opportunity to make a first impression. Honesty and integrity are paramount. You must be honest with yourself and with everyone else. Integrity is so important. Don't just find a job, but do something you love, and you will never work another day in your life. Find something that you love. What is your passion? Seek that out. And as my mother asked me, are you taking good care of the nurses? For most of us, this literally doesn't mean what she asked of me. But what this means is to be supportive of your coworkers, especially those individuals on the front line, and also to be respectful and to recognize the importance of a team, because you will not be successful without the support of others. And lastly, please share of yourself and your skills and your talents with the community you live in. Find time to give back to your community. Become a volunteer, coach a team, support your church, join a service club, or serve on a board. If we all give just a little bit, we can make this a better place to live. In closing, let me congratulate each of you on graduating this evening. It is my hope that although graduation closes a chapter for you today, that tomorrow you'll begin a new chapter in learning, in dreaming, and your determination and persistence will allow you to reach your hopes and dreams. Thank you, and congratulations.